One of the major issues facing the criminal justice system is mandatory sentences. Years ago, legislators, perhaps trying to appear tough on crime, passed laws calling for mandatory sentences in certain cases, frequently drug cases. A mandatory sentence is a sentence that must be imposed in a certain situation. That is, a judge does not have the discretion to sentence below the mandatory, even if he or she is convinced that the sentence is inappropriate. This may seem like a great idea at first, but the problem with mandatory sentences is sometimes the punishment does not end up fitting the crime. You can conduct a routine search on Google and find cases where financially desperate people, often parents or people with horrible addiction issues, became involved in a drug transaction and ended up with mandatory sentences of 10 years or more. Certainly anyone who breaks the law needs to be held accountable. The question is, can mandatory sentences produce unfair results? A major criticism of mandatory minimum sentences is that they sometimes marginalize the role of the judge in the criminal justice system. Our country's criminal justice system is not perfect, but it is clearly the best system ever created by humankind. One of the basic tenets of this system is that the police and prosecutors bring the charges, but it is an independent judge that decides what the penalty should be if the person is convicted. With mandatory sentences, however, this discretion is stripped from judges who now must impose the sentence created by law. Essentially, this allows the police and prosecutors who bring the charges to decide the final sentence. If you have been charged with a drug crime or any charge for which a mandatory sentence could be applied, it is important to hire a lawyer experienced with how to defend against such sentences. Please call me to discuss your rights and options. I can be reached at 610-270-8800.